It's January 10th. It's right at noon. Today's goal is to locate den trees. I may call a few. I brought the caller with me today. Maybe try to shoot a few squirrels in the process, but the main goal is to locate new den trees. It's pretty cold, so I don't know how active they're going to be, if they're going to come out of the dens, but we're going to try anyway. And like I say, at the very least, figure out where they're denning at. I do know that I have a big den tree right down here at the end of this tree line here. And with all the snow that we've gotten, it's easier for me to look through the woods and find what could be den trees. So I've got about an hour and a half, 2 hours or so, and then I got to pick up the kids from school, but I'm going to go on down this tree line here and get set up and see if we can't pull anything out of this den tree. Super quiet because it's like silent out here, but I'm probably 15 yards away from the den tree, and I don't see anything in one of the holes here, so they're probably tucked up somewhere trying to escape this cold. But I do have the caller out about 10 yards to the right of the tree, so hopefully after I start calling here, out of this den here and see what's going on. So if it's going to happen, usually it happens pretty quick, but we'll see what happens. Fast. Normally when you're calling dens like this, it's either going to happen quick or usually doesn't happen at all, but I was only, I don't know, maybe 3 minutes into that call, and I saw him stick his head up out of that hole, and then but I didn't know if he was going to commit to come out. Sometimes I get them where they stick their heads up out of the hole, but then they don't come out, so I didn't know if he was going to commit, and I didn't want a bunch of footage of a coon's head sticking out of the hole, so I kind of waited till he acted like he was going to come out of the hole before I started recording. So luckily he came out shortly after I started recording, but that's why I always put the caller on the opposite side of the tree or the side of the tree from where their den hole is, because if I would have had that caller where I was positioned, he would have just stuck his head out and he never would have came out. He'd been looking the whole time for whatever it was making that sound. So by putting it on the back side of the tree or on the side, it forces the coons to come out of the hole to figure out where that sound's coming from, and that's where you get your shot. I've killed quite a few coons out of this tree, and so I prefer they come out before I shoot them, and that way they'll continue to use this den tree. So I was kind of shocked there was only one. Usually when they come out that fast, there's more than one, but sometimes other coons will push them out of the tree. I'm sure there's more in there. It's a pretty big tree, but I can't ask for anything better than that. I mean, 3 minutes into a stand and we've got the first coon that comes out, so but that's how it was all supposed to go, and we'll get this sucker and we'll get out of here. So, that was fun. Alright, we're going to call this den tree number 2, but it looks like it's got some den holes in it, or what would be den holes. So I'm going to fire up the Fox Pro, and there is another tree that I would say is a den tree. It looks like the most den tree I've ever seen, but I'm gonna watch it and see if anything is moving around on top of that after I start calling. It's across the creek, so if there's something in there, it's gonna be kind of tough to get to. So I'm hoping they just start pouring out of this tree, or at least one of them does. So I'm gonna turn on some Raccoon Fight here, and then I'll switch over to Distress, and we'll see what happens. That was not the best footage and not the best shooting, but that sucker, I thought I heard him, but I didn't know what the heck that noise was. And I don't know where he came out of, but he didn't come out of the den hole where I thought he was going to, but then he was actually coming down to attack the call. I'm shaking so bad right now, I don't even know what I'm doing. But I didn't reload from the last time that I hunted. I just grabbed my mag and left today. I don't know what was going on with, must have hit my gun on, my scope on something, but I don't know. I hit him every time, but that is a big coon, and maybe that's why I wasn't really able to get a headshot on him, because of, I think when, oh, it's not dying. I wasn't able to get a headshot on him because he was just moving so fast, like he was on a mission to figure out why that king was in distress. Whew, man, that is so fun. Well, there's 2 down in probably 20 minutes or so. So we'll sit here for a little bit longer. I doubt anything else comes out after me shooting those 4 or 5 times, but we'll see what happens, and then we'll move on to another tree, I guess. I mean, I'm talking giant raccoon, and black. This baby's getting pelted out, I think. Holy smokes. I have never seen a coon that black. Look how black this sucker is. And big. I mean, you want to talk about an absolute hog. That thing is huge. Man, oh man. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this morning's hunt. The first den tree that I called, I knew was a den tree. I've called coons out of there before. That's where this one here came from, a little bit smaller. But this one here came out of the second tree. I've called it before and had no luck in it, but it's just, some trees you can just tell that they're den trees, and that was one of them. And I was really surprised the first time I caught it that I didn't kill anything out of it. And this morning, obviously a different story. But he was a little bit more aggressive than this one here. This one's a little bit younger, obviously, and this one I would say is pretty much the top dog in the area. But typically on my stands, I will play 10 minutes of Coon Fight, and then I'll switch over and I'll play the Coon Distress. But today, for whatever reason, I was just switching over early. Only played about 2 minutes of Coon Fight, and then I would switch over to Coon Distress. And it just seemed like every time I switched over to Coon Distress is what made these guys come out of the hole. But I can't really ask for anything better. I mean, I'm probably 45 minutes into this, and and I'm calling it quits. I gotta go pick up the kids from school, but it's fun. I mean, and when you're calling den trees like this, I mean, you can set a caller up like this and call, you know, known areas. Maybe they're denning up in log piles or wherever it may be. You're just not real sure where they're denning up at. You can always put these calls out and just blind call and see. A lot of times, sometimes you can get them to run in. Sometimes you can at least get them to crawl out of their dens, crawl up a tree, and that way you can pinpoint what trees they're denning in, even if it's from afar. And then you can make a move on that tree, and then hopefully once you get closer, call it again and it'll come back out. But I like to get up pretty close to the trees. One big thing is, and it's important when you're calling den trees, especially when it's cold like this, is you want to make sure that you're putting your caller on the opposite side of the tree of the hole, or at least on the side to where the coons are forced to come up out of the den to see where the sound's coming from, and then you can position yourself on the front side of the tree where the hole's at, and that way as soon as they come out of that hole, and then you can make your shot. So it's fun. Get a group of guys. I like to shoot a 22. Some guys like to shoot 12 gauges, whatever it is that that you want to bring. I just feel like I get more shots with a 22. Sometimes when the coons are in the mindset that they're going to fight, or there's a coon on the ground that's in distress, they don't really pay too much attention to the 22 sound. So a lot of times I can shoot a coon and then give it a couple of minutes, and then another coon will come back out. But today that just didn't happen. I really didn't give it enough time. So, but I'm gonna pack these hogs out of here, get some pictures, and then go get the kids from school and get ready for another raccoon hunt tomorrow. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe and join me on the next couple of hunts.